Yeah, I think we are live. I'll give it a couple minutes. Okay, so let's start. Good evening, everyone. I'm Aditya, a core committee member of CodeChef-VIT and the host for this panel. After the success of Tech Talks last year, we decided to shed lights onto some new topics and continue the legacy. So, CodeChef-VIT brings to you our flagship event, Tech Talks 2.0, for the year 2021. If you're interested in being at the forefront of technical trends, professional developments, and emerging technologies, this Tech Talk is for you. Why has there been a sharp increase in the presence and influence of online learning platforms such as Unacademy, Byju's, and Upgrads? What benefits do these platforms provide over conventional ways of learning? What is the difference between various platforms? Well, let us ask the experts themselves. We have put together a panel of industry experts to give us insight into the inner workings of the edtech industry. The rise of the internet has led to the growth of a brand new industry, one that has sought to change the education climate as we know it. The edtech industry is comprised of everything from independent people teaching on YouTube to companies creating courses to sell online. The topic for this panel is evolution of quality in education through tech, where we will discuss how technology has brought about a change in the education sector and what new opportunities it has created till now and will provide in the future. Our first guest today is the Director of Growth at one of the leading edtech platforms in India. I would like to welcome Mr. Ronit Khopkar, the Director of Growth at Unacademy.
Thank you so
Our
much,
next,
Aditya.
yeah, our next guest today is the CEO of Plan Edu and the founder of TedruX Technologies. He has been featured in many leading platforms such as Fox Interviewer, Daily Hunt, Google News, and many more. I would like to welcome Mr. Vikas Bharti to our panel.
Thank you, Aditya. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Yes, sir, it is our honor to have you here. Our next guest is an avid tech enthusiast and a prolific teacher. He has mentored more than 15,000 students and has hosted more than 500 live sessions on various platforms. It is our pleasure to have you here, Mr. Akib Bajani.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Before we start, if anyone in the audience has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat so that we can get them answered. So, without further ado, let's get the session started. So, my first question to all of you would be what has led to the massive rise in the edtech industry? So, maybe we can start with Mr. Vikas.
See, the massive rise, I would say, the main reason is the connectivity. Earlier, the internet connectivity and accessibility wasn't this much. So, and also it is cost efficient, I would say, and you can reach many people with a simple device, and it is easy to handle as well. So basically, if as a user, I have to say, I would say this only: the rise in the generation of the internet, people using more of internet. This is one of the major reason, I would say.
Okay, do any of you want to add something to this, Mr. Ronit?
Yes, why not, Aditya, right? So I think I'll just build up on what Vikas said. Right. So what has smartphones and internet done is basically it has given access to quality education to millions of users, right? The penetration of smartphone and internet has basically led to that, and it has killed the geographical constraints that Vikas was just talking about, right? What that also I think led to was growth in users, obviously, right? And seeing that, you see a lot of smart money, basically a lot of capital coming into India. I think because of that, that also helped a lot of entrepreneurs. They boosted up the confidence, and they came up with a lot of iconic products, right? So I think these series of events is basically one of the reasons for the rise in edtech industry.
Yeah, Mr. Akib, do you want to add something to this?
Just one quick thought. So I also, again, so building up on top of what both of them have already mentioned, what this has also done is kind of given more opportunity, I guess, to the tier 3, tier 2, tier 3 cities or areas where there are no good, the typical good universities, are not there, but students really wanted to pursue that, but there was a geographical or a financial constraint. Now that they have a smartphone, they can join courses from anywhere in the world, and that has also uh, piqued their interest, or given them more access. So there was a lot of potential there, which was kind of limited because of internet access, which is now not the case. So because when I teach people now, it's like there are more people who are coming in from these areas as opposed to the typical crowd that you would find in a like a good engineering college. There are more people who are from these cities because they are ready to explore more opportunities and do bigger things. So yes, that is also one of the things. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. Certain like platforms such as An Academy have helped people from various places get quality education, because even though they are far away from say, cities or towns. So, on topic of that, we have seen that as Mr. Ronat and Mr. Rakib mentioned, uh, that the geographical constraint is removed by these platforms. What are other benefits of edtech platforms over let's say conventional ways of learning? I guess Mr. Akib can start.
Sure. I think just one of the major benefits, I think, is the time issue that a lot of people used to face, especially people who are in the professional space. So, people who are looking to upskill or switch to a different domain, where they're currently working to a different domain and all. So the problem there was, if you had to attend college, your office hours are clashing with the college hours, and obviously you can't do that. But now that there are courses that happen in the evening slots, or weekend only courses or stuff like that, so that is definitely one of the benefits. The second would basically be the fact that a lot of these apps are have come up with really interesting features. For example, breakout rooms is one such thing, wherein it is possible to go as close to the offline experience as possible. Of course, not mimic it entirely, but get really close to building groups and having activities and all of that. So yes, definitely the features availability on the app is one, and the timing is two.
Yes, yes, definitely. Would Mr. Ronak, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, sure. Right. So I think I'd like to look at it from two perspectives. One is from learner's perspective, and the other is also from the educator's perspective, right? So when we are discussing the benefits in general, right? How it has helped learners apart from what Akib mentioned, right? What is that? I believe that the overall cost of getting access to quality education has drastically reduced to an extent that there are if I talk about test prep segment, there are courses of education, courses to crack basic exam category goals, right? Free of
Yes,
cost,
yes.
available on YouTube, right? So that's excellent in my opinion, right? So financial constraint also goes down over there. And not just that, if you look at typically the cost of online education vis-a-vis that of offline coaching institutes, I would easily say that is probably one fourth or one fifth. If you compare that, so that is one huge benefit to the learner. But the interesting part, is also that it has benefited a lot of educators also, right. What it has essentially done is it has given the educators the platform, right? So now they have access to large audience, and they have essentially an opportunity to become a larger and a nationwide brand. So a lot of local heroes, see, students look up to these educators like heroes, right? Because they are going to essentially help them crack that goal and basically get it to the other side of the river, right? So this is basically help them not just stay a local brand, but become a national brand. And I would say that there's a healthy so when there's an access of education across, right, you get to come across so many content innovations that are happening in general. Just take example of YouTube, right? So your training becomes faster, your learning becomes faster from an educator point of view, and essentially uh, so beyond just that, right, one of the fun thing that it has also done is it has given the opportunity for the educators also to basically teach from anywhere, right? So your educator can take a staycation, go to the mountains, just need what probably they need just is just laptop and basic internet. They can fire up the laptop and they can take the session that they want. So kind of flexibility is the point that I'm trying to stress here. Thank you, Aditya.
Yes, yes. So basically, it has increased the flexibility for teachers and students, so they can learn at any time and any place. Basically, that's what I got from here.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Would you like to add something to it, Mr. Vikas?
See, most of the things they've mentioned here, but what I would like to add is there's also a kind of healthy competition we can see in the market when it is about the standard of business. There are a lot of unicorns which have evolved during the past 5-6 years, if we can see. And when we see country like India, so many unicorns coming up, and there are so many entrepreneurs, young CEOs coming up. It really looks good. See, I mean, you have funders from other parts of the planet, and the unicorns are from India. So it looks good in that way as well. And more or less, it is all competition amongst the quality. And with that, as Ronit mentioned, the users are also getting benefited since the cost effectiveness is there, and day by day there is upgradation in the quality. And you also have these educators, the young educators, I would say. Earlier, when if I had to remember my school days, I had all my teachers who were above 35, but now I can see young teachers. I've seen educators of about 20-22 years. It really looks good when we see all that. A conventional way of teaching was different when we were kids in the school as well as college. And now, if you see the modern technological education, what I can see, it's totally different, accessible from anywhere, and accessed by anybody, and can also be said as taught by anybody. Anybody can be educated now. You do not require a professional degree for it. You have to be expertised in your subject, I must say. The future is that.
Yes, yes, definitely. Platforms such as YouTube are like an example that you
Yes.
don't need to have formal education to get to become an educator. Like anybody who's good at the field can thrive as an educator online. So, uh,
Just
I
one
would
more point I would like to add.
yes, yes, sure.
That another interesting angle here is also the curriculum angle, right? So now, like Vikas also mentioned, because of the competition in the market, the curriculum has shifted from kind of the old repeated curriculum that was there, especially in the software context, to really practical hands-on subjects that are actually softwares or tools that are being used in the industry. So that has also seen a massive shift, because I remember when I was in college, the technologies we were taught are now ancient, right? We are not using those anymore in the
Yes.
industry. But now the courses that now whatever courses have come up, that curriculum is pretty much making the learner job ready. Right? So the tech that we teach them is latest, or the tools that we teach them are actually what are being used. So that is also another benefit, I think, over the conventional setup that is happening right now.
Yes, yes, definitely. Nowadays, YouTubers have really advanced to like becoming sort of like our teachers. So they are teaching us new technologies faster than any college is able to right now. So yeah, on the topic of that, Mr. Ronit, since you're the director of growth at Unacademy, could you tell us what exactly
Yeah.
your role at Unacademy is?
Right. So great. So I'm basically in the YouTube team, in short. What it essentially means is that my key role at an academy is to drive new leads, new high intent leads on the platform. From a growth engine point of view, what it essentially does is, as you give new high leads to the platform, the learners will interact on the platform, and essentially, if there is a need, they will buy the product that they feel is will help them basically crack the goal, right? So from a very strategic point of view, my operationally, my key role is to just ensure that we are able to innovate on the content, have top educators or YouTube educators is what I would like to say, associated with academy, and we are able to reach to the masses to help them basically crack the goal, right? So that is what we do: content innovation and content marketing on YouTube. across all exam categories.
So basically, you reach out to certain creators online, and then you
Absolutely,
try.
absolutely. So when
Yeah.
Vikas said, right, a lot of our successful YouTube educators are the ones who are young, dynamic, and have an understanding of how to teach, right? So pedagogy comes across that. And what YouTube also does is it essentially, gives you the mirror, right? So in case your content is not good or your delivery is not good, you get that in the form of like, dislike. Well, anyway, which was the dislike button has been discontinued now, but you get that feedback in chats, you get that feedback in comments, right? So that is basically like a self-learning journey. So while figuring out ways to associate with not just top content creators, it is also to enable the promising ones to become larger brand on YouTube, and through them basically figure out a way to generate high intent leads. That is what it is.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So on the topic of that, uh, you both both Mr. Vikas and Mr. Akib have entrepreneurial experiences. So I would like to ask Mr. Akib, what was your inspiration behind starting Tabdil Studios?
Okay. So the Deal Studios was kind of the previous venture, which was basically a development firm, design and development firm. The intention or the inspiration came from college. So I was in VIT Vellore. I did my engineering from there. When I reached my third year, I had decided that web development was going to be something that I wanted to pursue, and my logic to follow that was the idea that I get to see an instant result. Right, even if I write one line of code, I can see the output, as opposed to other things like artificial intelligence or data analytics, which require me to follow a whole process before seeing the results. So that was the reason I chose web dev, and I had already started making small projects when I was still in college. So by the time I reached my final year, uh, the freelancing projects had become interesting, and then I decided to skip placements and start the studio instead. So while my friends were going for placement interviews and all, I was sitting in my hostel room and coding projects. So that was how it started off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. Yeah, most of them college students would go for placements, but you took the risk of going
Yeah.
for creating a company and hoping that
It
it
was scary
would
back
work.
then, but yeah, now
Yeah,
it's fun to narrate it this way.
yeah, yeah. On the topic of that, Mr. Vikas, you also started a company called Plan Edu. So could you tell us what was your vision for Plan Edu when you created it?
See, well, the vision is to provide, and the quality education has to reach everybody, beside the constraint of money or the geographical regions. Well, all this started when I was myself confused. I joined engineering, wanted to pursue my mass communication. But when I completed my engineering, I realized that I would have been a better journalist or a better lawyer. But somehow completed engineering and got the placement later after 6 months. Decided, no, this is not my cup of tea, and after that, sourced out Plan Edu, with few people, close people of mine, and the journey has been tremendous since then till date. We've covered across about 5,000 students. We've counseled them and placed them in different institutions, and also we've done marketing for a lot of institutions, the premium ones. um, it is our honor that the uh, journey, uh, I must say, it's not completed, but yes, up to some extent I'm satisfied that the dreams do come true, I must say.
Yes, yes, definitely. Dreams do come true. Like you all have helped so many people get into the dream college or the dream job, and it's like a really inspirational story when somebody when somebody is able to crack some let's say is able to get that dream job or the dream college through all these edtech, and it really gives hope to people who are in, let's say, not close to areas where which is like an educational sector hub. So it is definitely a very inspirational story.
Thank you.
So moving on, yeah, sorry, you wanted to say something, Mr. Akans?
No, I said
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So moving on, what do you guys think has been the effect of COVID on the edtech sector? Because everybody has been at home and not able to go for conventional ways of teaching. And how has edtech helped, so let's say, conventional colleges or conventional schools to survive during COVID times? Mr. Akib, can you start, I guess?
Sure. So I'm not sure how things have been for Ronit and Vikas, but it has been a very weird slash different. I was not expecting, obviously nobody was expecting it to happen this way, but then things turned out pretty interesting for me. So when I was just before COVID, so I graduated in 2019. That was just the year before COVID hit. So fortunately, I had my graduation and everything. And back then, I had just started taking sessions across colleges, right? So I just started. I took a session in Kanchipuram University. I went to IIT Jammu for a session, and I just started conducting offline workshops, and then out of nowhere, everything is
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
down. So interestingly, that helped me shift to the whole online space, and I started teaching with Upgrad and other companies. That was one, and the next interesting thing that happened was, so a bunch of friends and I. We were working on another idea. So we were conducting a lot of art-based events. Right? So the idea, it was called Unboxing Art, where we were conducting open mics and poetry events all across in 15 cities. And then again, since the lockdown happened, all events shut down, and that led us to exploring online teaching for that sector, which is in the marketing or technical terms, it is the hobby learning or the casual learning space, which is a very interesting space. It is not associated with job roles, it is not associated with making a career out of it. It is just pure hobby that you're interested in, something like learning how to write poems or how to write novel and stuff like that. So coming up with courses around those topics and trying to find people who are interested in just learning for the sake of learning and not expecting something as a job or a career output was interesting, was really interesting. So that whole casual learning bit was unexpected. So yes, I think that is what COVID led to in my case. So yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. I guess it started out as difficult maybe, but it's good to know that you adapted well and continued the journey. So, would Mr. Ronathan would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, sure, why not, right? So my answer to that will be from the perspective of how it essentially helped boost the growth in the edtech industry, primarily for startups, right? So the answer to that is yes. Obviously, what it did was it boosted user growth, right? Now it did that is basically learners were compelled to sit at home, right? But they also were worried and anxious about their future and the quality of education that they might get, right? So now it was what edtech industry did was obviously capitalized on that, right? And if I tell you something very interesting, right? Beyond just that, it modified the learner behavior, right? It modified the learner behavior and helped the learner adopt adapt to learning online, right? So if you look at it, pre-COVID, while the product innovation and content innovation was showing trends towards growth of online education industry in India, pandemic kind of added fuel to the fire, and it essentially helped modify that behavior. Now what that has done is essentially, as the offline also opens up, right, the behavioral shift is kind of happened, and then that will ensure the online education industry thrives even after after the offline institutes or offline coaching centers or offline educational services open up, right? Uh, and one more point I think that I'll say is that with the surge of user growth, what it did was it added data inputs to the overall understanding of how online industry does. And when you have that level of high volume empirical data, the decisioning that you do is very very strong. So that means that you can now flush out more iconic and relevant products for the market, right? Which in turn will benefit the learners only. So yeah, so that I think is what how it has helped the industry.
Yes, I would not have thought about that aspect of the industry, how more users coming would actually enhance the experience for the users because you get more data points about what users do on the platforms, and how it makes it better for both the users and as well as the companies that are providing the service. So would Mr. Vikas want to add something to this?
Yeah, see, I would like to get your attention towards the fact that obviously the industry has utilized the opportunity to its fullest. It was the same, if you see how the uh, wallet system, I must say, digital wallet system was evolved during demonetization. Same thing I remember when all this started. I used to wonder, okay, it's the same thing is happening. Everybody is evolving with different ideas, and a lot of companies come in as competition to giants one. But see, it is there are still people, I would say, who believe in conventional way of teaching, and there are a lot of recipients when we talk about or may not adapt to the online system of education, or there are a lot of see, it's when we talk about I'm a businessman, so I'll talk about the business in that term. See, I believe in sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya. So when we talk about that, there are a lot of institutions who have pumped in a lot of money in building up those infrastructures, labs and stuff. And when we see the online unicorns coming up and maybe somewhere or the other destroying the market or taking up the market, obviously the market is open for everybody. As they say, everything is fair in love and war. Business is always a war. It has been a war. But yes, indeed, online education has increased a lot of literacy, I would say. Now you see people actually coming up with the fact, no, yaar, I should get myself upgraded. Why not take one MBA? Why not take up some online courses? Or why not do something different from what I'm doing? See, I mean, there are a lot of for instance, homemakers. Now these homemakers used to work only at home, but now with online education booming up, these people are also becoming one or the other educators. See, I mean, they are also creating the content on YouTube. The fitness athletes, they are creating the content on YouTube. They do not have any kind of specific degree or specific qualification, but still they are coming up with different kinds of content and people are actually following it. Earlier, to become one expert of fitness, you when you go to some offline show or something, or go to some offline a class, they will demand your certificate or they will demand a degree from you. Why are you doing it? But have you ever thought that anybody demands any kind of degree from these YouTube content creators? No, it is not. So it is really an open platform, I must say, and people are enjoying and following it. See, business perspectives, yeah, it goes both the ways, I must say.
Yes, yes,
We need to
definitely.
adapt. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. The I guess some people still prefer the offline, but it has online has definitely provided and has sort of crashed into the market and is trying to change things so that people who are not comfortable with offline can also thrive. So due to this, everybody being forced to uh, learn through online, do you think uh, online platforms have some sort of effect on students' mental health? So a lot of students feel pressured, or they are they are not comfortable with online, and then due to that their mental health is suffering. So do you have anything to say on that, or what would be the solutions to this problem? Mr. Ronit, maybe you can elaborate on that.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I'll take it up. Right. I think there are two sides to this overall discussion, right? So if I talk from interactions and bonding point of view, right, the one perspective to look at it is obviously it has reduced social interactions with your peers because you're obviously not meeting them, right? But what it has also done is it has helped you bond more with probably your folks at home, right? Now it also depends upon how the environment is at home, right? But so I'll keep it positive for the sake of the discussion right now, because again it has two sides again, right? Beyond that, I think if you look at it, see, there's a behavioral change, like I spoke about it right now. When there's a behavioral change, people are not aware of how to adapt to it or how to cope to it, right? Now when, let's say, if you're sitting on one particular chair in front of your laptop the entire day, or in front of your smartphone in a particular corner, right, the lines between home, work, study, they are all blur, right? So that kind of creates a lot of, I would say, puts some stress on the mental health, right? And I've read some reports, and the primary internet media also tells you that it has kind of, yeah, I think, given rise to some sorts of anxiety and stress, right? But I believe that discipline can solve that, right? So when I say discipline can solve that, what I essentially mean is that if you have a proper schedule, if you have clear demarcations of work, study, and chill, or chill at home, right? I think that can probably solve the overall thing. And I think what will also add is, if the home environment, or if the parents are more supportive to the children and learners, and probably encourage them to go ahead and do some physical activities. I think these are some of the solutions that I can think of. But I think eventually people will adapt, and things will definitely improve. But if you are able to handle that side of it, the other side, which is much brighter, is it has essentially given you the access to quality education, right? Now, imagine any kind of village, right? I come from a small town called Panvel. Beyond Panvel, in Raigad district of Maharashtra, if you look at a small town called Rasaini, the access to quality education was not there, right? Now the same student over there, 15, 16-year-old, has an internet and smartphone, and can get access to a top quality educator who's probably teaching somewhere in Mumbai, like the South Bombay, or anywhere in the Andheri, or any part of it, which otherwise traveling to that place would have not been very easy, right? So that is the brighter side.
Yes, yes, definitely. Would maybe Mr. Akib want to elaborate on that, or?
Sure, just a quick pointer. So it is very subjective to begin with because I mean, it depends on who we are talking about. And there is also, again, so three angles here. One is the student angle, one is the instructor angle, and then there is the company angle, which is how are they, what are they doing to ease or give some kind of a flexibility as to the learning, because from personal experience what has happened is I've seen it both ways, right? So in some cases there are like strict deadlines that need to be followed, and that leads to some anxiety in students because they have work and then there's family and then they took up learning on top of all of that. So we understand that it gets difficult to keep up with the curriculum and then submit the assignments and all of that. So that is one angle to that. The second is also the instructor angle. So a lot of times it happens, right? So for example, in my case, it is like I have one session almost every day, and to take a live session you have to be in a very good mental space. You can't take a session if you are not in the right zone, and that is also something that needs to be taken care of, and that is again depends on how the instructor deals with it. So I agree when Ronit said there has to be a work chill and in my case teach, so teach work chill wala space. That the third angle, interestingly, is how the companies have picked it up, right? So a lot of companies are now providing counseling services. They are providing access to therapists and other psychologists and all of that. So all of that, of course, free of cost for the students and all of that. So that is also interesting to see that if you are struggling with something, just like we had a counselor in college or school, there are counselors available that you can get on a call with and discuss your issues with. So I think overall the problem is definitely there, but at the same point, everyone from their own levels are trying to come up with some kind of a solution to the overall issue that is there. So yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely. Like, uh, I have seen a lot of companies are now more open to people getting mental help, so that the students do not suffer even though they are stuck at home, or they don't have access to mental health specialists. So it is definitely a welcome change in the industry that such platforms are taking the lead to help their students get over some mental pressure. Um on the topic of that, would Mr. Vikas want to add something to this?
Well, the mental health of the students is obviously important. It's not about what you learn, it's about what you grasp. See, maybe there are a lot of stuffs taught in the class, taught in the session, but ultimately it is on the student whether the student is grasping it or not. See, again, these two things like online and offline, if you compare, see, sometimes what happens in offline sessions is offline interactions is there is physical interaction with the classmates, physical interaction with the teachers, physical interaction with other people. You have sports in your life, you have physical activities around you. So somewhere or the other there is one kind of a systematic behavior which makes you more and more mentally strong. But when we talk about, as Ronit said, it depends on the home, how the environment is there. See, I would say the parents, they should take care of their kids. They should make sure that the kid is not spending much time sitting in front of the gadget. Maybe taking up the classes, and after that, lot of physical activities are required. See, mental health is the most important part of anybody's life. We generally neglect it. We think that okay, physical health which can be seen like fever, you get to know you have fever, but how many of us get to know that the person has anxiety? So yes, it is very important aspect. And up to some level, now the companies are coming up with as Akib added, therapists and counselors, so that they can understand the pressure and everything, and maybe counsel them to the fullest, so that these people can actually get the best out of what is taught in the class, isn't it?
Yes,
So
yes, definitely.
ultimately it's important, yes, to take care of the mental health, I must say.
Yes, definitely. It's a two-pronged approach. So it is also the responsibility of the parent and the student, as well as the companies, to take care of their mental health, so that for the best outcomes. So, as Mr. Ronit said, it is very important for there to be a demarcation between work and life, work, chill, and the study. So, what are some tips that could help in uh, to demarcate
See, one
these
thing,
things?
it's as simple as, just have a separate space, right? So it could be a study table. In households where your study table is not affordable, it could be just a different side of the of a room, or it could be a different room, or could be a different space, right? So it is actually as simple as that. So what it essentially does is it helps you associate. So a particular environment helps you associate with a certain kind of feeling, right? There are certain reasons why offline coaching institutes have worked in the past also, right? Because when you go to that particular place, you associate with a kind of environment. Why workspaces why people behave differently in workspaces, why people behave differently in friends groups, in hotels, restaurants, etc., right? It is just the concept of that, right? So when you're at home learning online, this concept of spatial recognition is not there, right? So when that is not there and that is absent, these small things can basically help you. In
Yes,
fact, even for
yes,
people who are working from home, right? Basically, if you probably do not, ideally avoid using bedroom or your bed where you sleep as a place to work from directly, right? All you have to just do is maybe move from your bed to a chair, or maybe into the living room or to a different room, something of that sort also. Very small but extremely effective.
yes, definitely. I have seen a lot of people be uh, even at home they are they find it difficult to uh, demarcate between their work and their personal life. So they'll uh, say answer emails and all that stuff even at home. So yes, definitely like having a separate room could definitely help in setting some boundaries so that let's say you do not work on a bedroom but you work in this room. So yes, definitely that was very insightful. Would Mr. Raki want to add something?
Yes. So two pointers here. First of all, I absolutely agree with what Ronit said. There has to be like a physical difference where you are working and doing other activities. Because just that act of getting up from the bed and sitting to the chair will kind of drain the laziness out of you. If you just pick the laptop on the bed, you're still lazy, you're still sleepy, and you would not perform better at work. And that is also the whole performance angle to it. But coming to the other 2 points, so one other thing that I try to follow strongly is to differentiate the time for myself. So as in, if I'm working for, like, let's say it's a startup setup, so it's like you're working 24 hours, but still out of those I try to take out like 2 3 4 hours that are just me time. There is no work, there is no email, there is no call, no other work conversation happening there. For example, I make sure that I have dinner with my family every day, no matter what is going on. At the dining table, there are no mobile phones, there are no laptops. We're just sitting there and talking and eating. That is one time of the day where I'm absolutely off work. Right? Then there is early morning. So I'm a morning person. So I try to go to the park every day. So when I'm out walking or taking a walk or strolling around, that is the time that I have for myself. Right? No family, no personal, no friends, no work. There is just me. So I think this whole point of differentiating or taking out timings out of the day for yourself, family, work, friends is important. Another example of this is, so a lot of the times what I do with my friends is it's like we have a fixed schedule over the week. So it's like every week the same time we'll end up calling each other. So if not me, then they'll call me up. If not them, I'll call them up. So it has become like a routine now that every week this is the time. Or we used to play Call of Duty. So we play Call of Duty every Saturday night, right? So that has become a friend zone then. That Saturdays is for friends where we just play something and chill. So I think that is another thing which helps you, just be more motivated and be happy because you are connected to people, and that is that. The second point is about this concept called the highlight of the day. So I was reading this in a book and I found it very interesting, which is that no matter what you are doing in the day, you should plan one thing. Could be a tiny thing, could be a big thing, which makes you very happy, which just makes you happy. It might not be related to work, or it could be related to your work. For example, something like I said, so like going for a walk in the morning, it makes me very happy, right? So that is the highlight of my day. Or if I'm going to meet a friend today, that is the highlight of my day. So whenever you plan your day, it could just be buying yourself a cookie, or it could just be ordering a pizza, whatever it is. There has to be one tiny thing or one big thing. Could be a promotion, could be a small thing. That if I ask you at the end of the day, how was your day like, or what was the highlight of your day, you suddenly glow up and you tell me that incident, right? So that one thing I think should be included in the plans for every day. So that is something that I try to follow. So yes, these two things I think would definitely help be more productive overall.
Yes, yes, definitely. I think the highlight of the day for today for me would be this session, and I hope it's for you too. So,
Absolutely.
so would Mr. Vikas want to add something to this?
Most of the things they've said. The most important part is rest. See, a person works online or offline or wherever. Rest is the most important part. You need to have proper sleep. Need to rest your brain, because brain is the most important part of the body. It plays most of the function in your body, I must say. 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours of sleep is must. So a person should go to bed by 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I would say, and should be seeing sun every day. Sun gives you, rising sun always gives you a lot of energy. If you get up by 5:30 or maybe 5:45 or maybe 6, you get to see the sun, and the day really looks more bigger then. I've seen this in my personal case, and most of the successful people, if you see, they wake up very early. They wake up like by 4:30, 5 o'clock. So in my early days, I also started following the same. And the third point would be interaction with the mates. See, once you finish any online session or online day, you should interact with your classmates or maybe the subject mates, so that what happens in that way is you get actually the juice of the subject. You get to know what the other person has understood and what you have understood. Maybe you can differentiate, and with that you also get a kind of interaction with the outer world apart from your own family. And fourth point would be helping your family, helping your parents. Maybe if you know cooking, you can cook, or if you want to help your siblings in their studies, you can maybe do that. Or if you want to help your dad, maybe teaching him the gadget, or maybe mom teaching her the gadget, you can do that. And most important, should stay away from the mobile phones. See, now with the digital communication coming up last 1 decade, you can see the rise of this has also induced a lot of problems in the youngsters. They are getting addicted towards their mobile phones and the social media handles, and this has also declined the way they think. There is no creativity. The creativity is limited now, I would say. People are getting influenced by others' creativity and maybe trying to see themselves in somebody else's way. But according to me, everybody has unique way of understanding and uniqueness. Should follow your uniqueness and should follow whatever is your dream and your aspirations.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Just a
Yeah.
quick point to add here. So I was
Yes, 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 sure.
very fast. I really liked what he said about talking to the team. I mean, classmates or batchmates after. That is something I haven't experimented with. So maybe I will try that out. Thank you so much for that, Vikas. One quick point here. So I was just talking to one of my friends the other day, and we were discussing this thing called a non-work hobby. I'm not sure if you might have heard about it. So, like Vikas was mentioning, you could either cook or teach people something, or teach your parents or help them out with something. So the idea was to find something that you really like to do, which is got nothing to do with your work, right? So we just call it like a non-work hobby, which is that if the day gets too draining, or if the work gets too draining, or if the classes get too draining for you, you have this one thing that you like to do, which is kind of uh, a complete getaway from that thing, right? So it could be, for me it is reading. So when I pick up a book, I it's like I'm in the book now, and I'm not not in the real space anymore. So that is, that one thing. It could be anything. Could be cooking, traveling, reading, writing, gardening, collecting stamps. Could be anything, which is like a hobby which you love to do, but it has got nothing to do with your work. So that at least when you're not working, when there's a weekend, when you have some time off, you do this thing which cuts you off from work, and kind of refreshes your brain, and you're then prepared for the next day in a better way.
Yes, definitely. Non-work hobby actually really helps a lot. So it cuts you off from your work and then gives you like a fresher mind. So I have personally experienced that, and I definitely uh, agree that a non-work hobby should everybody should have one non-work hobby. So, and last question would be, maybe somebody from the comments could ask some questions so that we can put it, so that we can get the answer. Okay, there's one question. Does tech prevent great analog thinking and learning?
I would actually like more clarity on what does the question mean. Is the question trying to probably ask if you can define analog thinking for me?
Okay, is, could the person who
Does tech
asked it?
prevent great analog thinking? Okay, I think it's more of like, is your thinking being limited because of things being online or
Yeah,
something.
maybe, I guess.
But again, a little more clarity on the question would be good.
Okay, are there any other questions, or if the person who asked could clarify what it means? Okay, I guess we'll move on to some other question. Uh, 1 second. Okay, so you talked about how students can suffer from online because they are not able to talk with their classmates, or so what are some outlets where they can interact with their friends? So if maybe um, they if maybe they are not very good at like socializing, so um, how can they you know uh, socialize with other people better during offline or online classes?
Right, it's actually a very, very interesting thing, right? So let's forget the pandemic and let's say the post-COVID world, right, where things have opened up again, right? So beyond what you usually do, apart from let's say going back to the parks or chilling with your friends in restaurant, etc. If I take that argument from the conversation from that space to a space where how are companies helping, and my perspective is in terms of what are companies doing to to enhance and improve this problem uh, of lack of social engagement or lack of interactions, right. So if you look at edtech as an industry, right, how it transformed, right, there are basically four waves of edtech industry. The first is moocs, massive open online courses, right. So if you remember those nptel lectures where that you refer to basically get through your college exams, right. So that's essentially recording the content as it is offline and putting it on the internet for consumption for everybody, right. Now that was the first it went into edtech, right. It's basically taking the offline into online world, right. But the problem is that it is basically like an ATL activity. It is mass level of broadcasting. It doesn't solve for a lot of things. It just helps you consume the content in asynchronous manner, right. Then came the concept of broking or the marketplaces or platforms, basically where the supplier is essentially an educator providing top quality education, and buyer is basically is a combination of consumer and customer. Now as you move down to K-12, the consumer and customer difference increase because the consumer is the kid and the customer is their parents, right. But as you move up towards upskilling or even post-grad education, more the lines basically merge and the customer is the consumer, right. So what it solved for, it basically solved for asynchronous interactions, and what it did was it gave you a structured way of consuming education, right. Then came the wave which was essentially software as a service, right. So people came up with iconic products and started selling it to offline education institutes or teachers in general, also at retail level, where they are saying that we will help you, will enable you to come online and increase your increase your audience base and basically give you that level of national audience, right. Right, but if you look at all these three waves, right, what you will commonly see is that in all these waves, there is lack of engagement across. The student might engage a little bit with the educator in the marketplaces. Probably the products that that SaaS companies are developing would also have some kind of interaction, right. So now came the fourth wave, that is basically the advent of CBCs, which is cohort based courses, right. So what essentially they do is they help you interact with your peers who are also a part of cohort but online, right. And so now what a lot of other marketplaces and other SaaS companies are also doing is they're trying to develop product where they're helping the learners increase and the users increase the engagement with their peers, right. So that helps them drive some level of social interaction while being online, right. So in fact my friends from college have started this new cool startup called On That Job, which basically is a CBC, and that gives helps basically, it's basically a beginner course for product managers, and the kind of response that they are seeing is phenomenal. What they are observing is that the retention rate of a learner from the start of the course to the end of the course is absolute spot on, roughly around 90%, which is very, 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 very huge if you look at any other online courses, right? And that I think is because of community building and those interactions. So I'll take a break there. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I think we are short of time now, so I would like to ask all the speakers if they want to convey something to the audience in like a very quick manner, like maybe 10 seconds. Maybe we can start with Mr. Akeem.
Yes, that is a very difficult question to answer. But yes, the only thing at the end of the day, is always so it is about this idea that I like to call, which is like following multiple passions. So whenever you talk about finding your passion or finding something that you love, we always talk about it in a singular sense, that you have to find that one thing which you love. But I'm sure everybody here would agree that it is possible to be able to love multiple, to love doing multiple things. And I think it is amazing to be able to do so many things at the same time. So just that idea that you can be passionate about multiple things, just make sure you put in enough time and effort to follow all of those, and not leave something just because you are focused on this one thing. So I saw a lot of my friends who were amazing at poetry and sketching and painting just let that all go because they started working and they're like, we don't have time for it. So time is the worst excuse you can give for letting something go. I think that is where I would sum up. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Vikas.
In the generation of online education, I would say try to interact more and more with your friends. Be close to your family. Adapt the best ways you can learn. See, education doesn't define the way you will have your life after 10 years or 5 years. It is just a start to your life. Maybe you can just brush up what you are good at. Maybe you can follow, as Akib said, your passion, but with the passion you can also see what all opportunities you have around you. Maybe you fit somewhere. Try to fit yourself where you are comfortable. Do not follow something where you are not comfortable or what you cannot pursue for longer term. See, I would say when your passion becomes your profession, it is the ultimate goal of your life you achieve. So a thing, my dad used to say that do something which you can continue for 24 hours without rest. So I would say follow your passion in this way and your hobby. With that, obviously, education is important. But I would not say it is the ultimate part of the life. Do not go into depression thinking that I'm not the topper, or I'm not into top 10, or I'm not into NIT, IIT, and maybe in some medical school. Just always take in this way that you are one of the different ones what are evolved on this planet. You're born to do something different, and always believe in yourself. You are a different personality. Do not think about how others think that you can do, and maybe this would create a better space for yourself in coming days. Yep.
Yes, yes, definitely. Mr. Ronit, maybe you can conclude.
Very short. I would just urge anyone and everyone who's listening to this to be relentless in pursuit of whatever you want to do in achieve in life. Uh, Keep no stones unturned, and stay consistent. Stay consistent in whatever you do, because consistency takes you to that point, goal point where you want to go.
Okay, then I guess that is that, and we'll put a wrap to this. So I would like to thank all the panelists who are present here, and I would urge the audience to stay back because we have another panel coming up, which is on women in tech. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to all of you. How are
Hey, good
you all?
evening.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
We'll begin in a moment and then we'll go live and then we can start. Okay, so I think everyone's here. We can start. All right. So, surprise. Female CEO, female pilot, female surgeon, as if the gender in itself implies surprise. We hope that one day there will be female leaders and that there will be just leaders.
Hello everyone. I'm Shreya.
And
We are co-committee members of CodeChef-VIT and we want to our next session of Tech Talk on the topic Women in Tech. Let's get into the why. Why did we create this panel? Why are we here to talk about women in technology? To put this plainly, technology is a wonderful field to build critically. When we look at the numbers, having a diverse workforce has been a constant issue for the tech companies. Women now make up to 34% of the IT workforce in India, with the majority of these workers under the age of 30. Though the numbers have definitely increased in the last decade, it is clear that the tech industry and other STEM related fields are yet to find a greater balance in the gender ratio. So, what exactly are the various reasons stopping women from choosing a career in tech? Let's find answers to some of these questions with our honorable speakers, who are the finest examples of women excelling in the field of technology. Our first guest for today is a software engineer at LinkedIn. She is a GHCI scholar and a mentor at Codus Cafe. She is someone who promoted open source culture at college and helped in organizing various workshops and technical sessions. Presenting to you, Priyanka ma'am, a great pleasure to have you with us.
Hey, thank you so much, Shreya and Sanya. I hope I'm perfectly audible.
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
audible, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Our
so
second
much.
speaker, thank you. Our second speaker for the session is the co-founder of Vice Fellow, which is a network for students interested in pursuing higher education to interact and connect with each other. Having strong skills in technology and digital strategy for solving complex problems, she has also demonstrated her agility by being able to quickly learn and work in various domains like finance and e-commerce. We extend a warm welcome to you, Sohita ma'am.
Hi, hello everyone. Nice to meet you. Hope am I clear? Like, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. You're
Yes,
perfectly
ma'am.
audible, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for this.
Our third speaker for today is a startup coach, keynote speaker, and an entrepreneurship catalyst. She is an incubator with 20 years of holistic experience in the IT domain and was recently featured in the CNBC TV 18 to be amongst the 32 impactful women changing the digital world. We are delighted to welcome you, Deepa Sanyal, ma'am.
Hi, Sandhya. Hi, Shreya. Good evening to you. And I'll make a small correction. My full name is Deepa Sayal. It's not Sanyal, it's
I'm
Sayal.
sorry,
Oh,
ma'am. Sorry.
really sorry, ma'am.
No, no, no problem. It's right.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Last but not least, she is a software engineer at Microsoft. She honors program. She is passionate about technology, entrepreneurship, and cybersecurity. She also has a lot of experience in writing books and is a coach as well. It's a great pleasure to welcome you on.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you for joining.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sanya, but I see we have to join us. When we get into the discussion, please feel free to share your thoughts, circle back to us and get them answered.
Thank you, Shreya. We at CodeChef-VIT are glad to see you all here, specifically to this speaker's think. Having said that, let's dive into the discussion. So our first question to our speakers is, why do you think it's important for women to join the tech industry in the first place? Priyanka ma'am, would you like to go first?
Sure. So for me, the major reason is to create some representation and to create a lot of role models for all the young girls out there. So there's this quote that you cannot build what you cannot see, right? And I believe that for young girls to visualize, to validate what they're trying to achieve and what they're dreaming of, it's very important if we have role models in the industry, not only for young girls, but also for people around them, for their relatives, for their parents, to help them support and enable their dreams. I think it's very important if we have role models. It helps them visualize that, okay, this is really possible and I can be one of them.
So true, ma'am. And Suhita ma'am, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, that was a very good answer. I would just like to add that I think, like any other field, gender is also like adding diversity, and in any technology that you work on, you are ultimately solving some problem for the business, and best problems solving comes when you have diverse perspective. So I believe that the more balanced representation we have in the tech industry from women, it will be just better for the ultimate problems that everybody is trying to solve.
All right, thank you. Deepa ma'am, what are your thoughts on the same?
Tanya, I think the next 10 years in the world, especially when we say employability, and in context to like VIT, we say, in terms of employability, in terms of building entrepreneurship, technology is the mainstay. It is the core. Pandemic has proved to us that technology we cannot ignore. So women at the moment are only contributing 14%. If you see the MSME industry, in terms of the contribution to the GDP, we have a long, long way to go. So I think since it is a basic requirement that digital is a hygiene, technology is a hygiene. So all women, it's in a way applied part. It's a very powerful, I think, means to an end today and in the next 10 years, how the world will shape up, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it is cloud, whether it is artificial intelligence, and the jobs that we shape up, or the if you see many people like Tesla and others, whatever they are creating, it's coming around technology in a big, big way. So women are the forefront runners, and they cannot be anyways lag behind. So technology is very, very important to go forward and contribute to the national economy for women, especially. Yeah,
That's
that
a
is what I
great answer indeed. Thank you. What about you, Anjali ma'am? Why do you think that women should join the tech industry?
Yeah, in addition to the amazing points raised by other panelists, I just think that there's no reason for there to be less women in tech, because the core skills, the requirements that are required by tech, everyone can have them. There is no reason there are less females than males, and we need to bridge the gap, because we as women can make it in and even succeed really well. So we should be encouraging other little girls to really get into tech.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to our next question. How much do you think the tech industries has changed since you joined? Priyanka ma'am, let's start with you.
I don't think like I'm the perfect person to answer this. It's been just a few months since I formally joined. So like you should ask Deepa ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take it head on, no problems. I think Shreya, technology has really changed the game. It's become so humongous. Imagine the companies 10 years ago. What were the companies that are present today? Apple was not there 10 years ago. You know, talk about Tesla. I mean, oh wow, like new names coming in. So
Yeah.
you see how the denomination is changing. Cloud is so big. Zoho, it's an Indian multinational. It's 1 billion plus. We have unicorns every week. I'm reading INC 42. We have unicorn jumping the bandwagon. So cloud is very, very important. I think it's really, really defined how we took music has shaped up. See how we Spotify kaha tha 10 saal pehle. It has totally changed the game. So apart from that, artificial intelligence and machine learning and data analytics, data has become gold in the last 10 years. Look at this. So I think, and even if you look at the Indian geography, people like Mukesh Ambani and these industry giants, they're acquiring digitally. They're moving from their conventional side of brick and mortar businesses to the high end, the sunrise industry. 3D printing and whatnot, and augmented reality and AR, VR, everything's going to redefine, and we're going to soon have electric cars. We're going to be having recharging stations. Petrol is going to be out. So see, the world's changing. Well, I don't know about India, but we're definitely going to have solar highways. The game is changing. The economies are shifting, and I think coming from the perspective of VIT, if you see all the people who are listening to us, we really have to really, really work at the skill set that we are building. How we can contribute to this entire large spectrum of things that are moving around us. That is what I'd say. I'd rather be brief. I can go on and on, but I think I'll motivate my others a chance to speak. So I think that is how there's a sea, there's an ocean, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Is what my answer is to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Suhita, ma'am, what about you?
Yeah, I think in the last 10 years, it has been like really like technology has changed by leaps and bounds. So I think it is more accessible to regular people. So now explaining what you do in technology has become much easier than it was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, because people can just really see it. Technology has like literally touched everybody's life, from our, I don't know, mobile phones to our vacuum cleaners to everything. It's driven by technologies. So I think it's not just related to just working on your system and nobody knows what you're doing. It is more like people can see what technology can change in people's life, and people can benefit from the use of technology. So I think there is still a long way to go. It's still a very new industry, probably compared to other modern brick stores. But yeah, I think there will be a time when uh, people would be like everything is going to become, I think probably will be consuming it as a service. Like we'll stop owning cars, and Ubers and everything will become so accessible. So that's, I think, will be the future that holds for us.
Thank you, ma'am. Anjali, ma'am, what about your thoughts?
So I again am a new grad as well. I just joined tech. I have been interning, working on smaller startups, and then moved to big tech. So I do see a difference there in the sense that when it comes to very small startups, there were much lesser women. But now that I'm in big tech, I see there's not much of a gap. At least like in my team and my sister teams, there's almost 50% women. So I like seeing that. But I haven't been in tech for years and years to be able to comment on how tech has actually changed in terms of women in tech. So I'll pass on this question.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Thank you. We had like some lovely insights there. Coming to the next question, what do you feel are some of the common problems that women face a lot by being in the tech? Who would want to know first for that? Maybe Savita?
Okay.
Not a problem per se, but I think just people don't mix with each other and everything at workplace. I'm saying, I think that's something. It is not just women centric. It's just everybody. You're not there to just write code. You don't go to office just to write codes. Just interact with the people. Be a part of the organization. And yeah, I think that's not so women centric answer, I would say, but still I feel that's the thing which is sometimes I feel it's different.
Yeah, and I like that, Tanya. I also feel that aisa kuch nahi hai. There's nothing like women have a challenge technology. I think there is stereotype that I have worked with a large what do you say, an ecosystem. I worked with almost 100 plus brands in my tenure in my life of 20 years of my career, and I've also created a lot of artificial intelligence products. So I would like to tell you that we have set up a community, a club of tech superwomen. It's called techsupergirl.com, and it's also called techsupergirls.club. I just feel that women need to have their blinders Sometimes I think it's more like what is it? It's a validation issue that sometimes women are made to feel like they don't know technology. I'll be very honest. I am talking without any censors here. So it's not that. I think you have to self-validate yourselves. You have to believe in yourselves, and you have to keep your blinders away. Read as much as possible, and be hungry for vocational skills. Because to me, knowledge is power. And to all the women, the more you learn, the more you learn it, the more you're invested with power. So I really do not think that women have any specific individual challenge. Referring to your coach, that women leaders, female leaders. So there is no division there. Everybody is, it's just that women don't need validation. That's what I feel. They are capable of delivering the best of the best. This is what I feel.
Absolutely. Agree with you completely, ma'am. And any thoughts, Anjali ma'am, Priyanka ma'am? Have you guys faced any sort of, issues being females in the tech industry, or has it been like good so far?
I agree with Deepa ma'am and Sohita ma'am with all their points. One of the things that I've observed in college is that girls are more kind of hesitant when they're given collaboration opportunities. But I guess because of the tech clubs and so many initiatives that are going on, we're kind of bridging that gap, and that's great. So I just feel that the kind of resistance that they feel, we can bridge it through these initiatives and through these women in tech clubs. Also, there's sometimes this mentorship gap. They do not feel very comfortable with pursuing people for mentorships openly. So again, we have mentorship, like formal mentorship programs, which are very important. So that's great. I mean, we're going in a good direction.
Thank you.
I think for me, I've faced like a couple small issues. For example, when I was a student back in college, I was a teaching assistant. They would, it was me and one other guy, and everybody would just assume that he's a TA, I'm just a student here, or okay, I'm the engineer in this room, right? Valley, like hoodies and sweatpants are the two dresses. Like everyone's in a hoodie. I really like dressing up. I love suits. I'm like kind of convincing people at first that okay, I am not another little girl. Like I'm really here. I'm here to work, but I like dressing up, and that's okay. It's okay to like fashion.
So is that something like
Yeah.
there, or
A lot of girls
how-
don't like dressing up sloppily, is what I've seen. And if you go to work, it's literally everyone's sweatpants, and everyone's hoodie. So it's only the females who are like really dressed up, and it's sometimes like you look like an outsider. And some females, like I had my coworker tell me, like she started adapting to the hoodie lifestyles, even though she didn't want to, because she's like, I don't want to like feel left out, and that's just unfortunate.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Shreya.
So, moving on to our next question. Priyanka ma'am, this is specifically for you. Since you promoted open source culture at college, what was the inspiration behind this and why specifically at college?
Right. So again, it was not a women-centric like club that I was a part of. So I would say open source or be it any technology, I felt like we didn't have a very um, good environment at college for coding and for other open source programs. So that's where I thought, like, if I could step in and help people at least know about these opportunities, at least help them being aware that okay, there are such programs and there are such opportunities that they're there. So I think my inspiration was just to let people like be aware of these opportunities and then like go on and get them.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. That was really inspiring. I hope we would also be able to do something like that. Sanya, over to you.
Yeah. So Heatha, ma'am, could you tell us your journey on how you built Wise Fellow, and how do you think it would benefit students?
Yeah, yeah. Vice Fellow, we are really excited about Vice Fellow. So there I have two other co-founders, and all of us believe, like all of us like you have gone through the same journey, writing JE, then working, and then figuring out what to do next, and then each and every one of us, we have probably now venturing into different careers and things, but all of it, we wanted a platform. We thought we really lacked that back in our times, that we wanted a platform where you can just go there, meet people who are in the same boat as you. For example, you are probably just past class 10th or 12th or anything, and you're thinking of probably pursuing fashion design, but you don't know anybody in your circle, immediate circle. And where do you go look for people who are probably want to pursue the same thing? And how do you exchange information and insights with your network? Because there is LinkedIn, but you do not ask Sundar Pichai how to become the best CEO, right? You really want to network with people who are just like you don't need like some gyan or anything. You just want to know, like, oh, what are you doing? I'm writing cat. What are you, where are you preparing for? And there are information in internet today, but it's all scattered. There is we plan to bring everything in one platform, so that anybody who is thinking of any exam, wants to do like go for placement prep, don't know what to prepare or how to prepare for your placements, do needs internship tips or resume tips, can just go to one location and find information, find your peers, find your mentors, everything at one platform. That's the vision that we have, and we are trying to build that. We are just starting with the prototype. I think some of you might have already seen. If you have not, you just go check out our platform. Try posting your queries if you want to go for higher studies and you're just confused about colleges or which exam, get your profile evaluation or anything. Just post your questions. There are other people who would be probably they can help you with the answers. There are mentors on the platform. Yeah, just check it out and to let us know what you like about this, or any other feedback. Because we are trying to build this platform for all the students community. So yeah, any feedback would be a very good one for us right now.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure the time won't be far when a friend of mine asks that, hey, like, do you know which university you apply to? And I go like, hey, use Vice Fellow.
That's our tagline. We want to say, if anybody asks, like, did you ask Vice Fellow? That's the thing we are trying to build.
That's great. Awesome.
Moving on to our next question. Deepa ma'am, we found out that you were also featured amongst the MSME Top 100 Women Entrepreneurs Compendium in India by Shri Nitin Gadkari. Would you like to tell us what was it all about and how was your experience?
Yeah, ऐसा है कि I want to switch to Hindi and English both. I'm comfortable. So
Yes.
भाई awards को बहुत seriously नहीं लेती हूँ. There is citations to get in speeches like this. So I don't take these things very seriously. But I can tell you that I've had a very enriched journey. I started at the reception desk of a very small agency in Chandigarh at 3,500 rupees a salary. Today, I have a company 21 years later that I founded. We have close to about 1,000 employees. And I've also created an NGO which is known by the name of I Will India, under which we are running the Tech Supergirl Club, where we are mentoring 450 plus startups. तो जैसे आपने आपने बोला आपने बोला कि ये वाइस फेलो जैसे आपका स्टार्टअप है, that is, we have about 450 women in cancer tech innovation, health tech, energy, solar energy. So I think I've been very fortunate to create the dots and billion impact. We recently did a program with about 20 incubators in different states like Kerala Startup Mission, FICCI, CII. तो एक इम्पैक्ट फुटप्रिंट बनाने में मैं कामयाब रही हूँ, बिकॉज एक पैशन और लगन, तो जितने भी लोग सुन रहे हैं मैं जरूर ये बोलूंगी कि लाइफ में जो भी करो शिद्दत और पैशन से. तो मेरे को आपको बताने में बिल्कुल झिझक नहीं है. आई एम अ BSc होम साइंस ग्रेजुएट, वो भी जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी से, ठीक है. बट आफ्टर दैट I studied in the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade after my child was born. And then there was no looking back. I've written a book on digital transformation, which has, by God's grace, done recently well. So the passion kept me going, and today people look at me as a tech savvy woman in my industry. That is the thought. So maybe Nitin Gadkari ji को लगा कि ठीक काम करिए तो उन्होंने मुझे कर दिया. So,
So
I'm taking
humble.
it pretty, yeah. So that's it. My journey has been a very humbling journey. I have bagged about 13 awards. What I'm very proud of is that the experience that I've gathered over the last 20 years as an entrepreneur, and I've founded 4 companies in my lifespan, which has been a very, very promising thing for me as a, so it's been humbling for me. That is how it is.
That was really insightful, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, Anjali, ma'am, our next question is directed towards you. Since you have been passionate about coding and cybersecurity, we wanted to know how often have you come across female mentors in general, and how have they inspired you?
So for me, when I first started out, I had a hard time because I had a blank resume and I moved to the US, and here students, they intern in their 10th grade, they intern in their 12th grade, and what was I supposed to write in my resume, my PCM grades? Like, I was really confused, and that's when I found out about Technica and like a women tech club in my university, and that's where it all started. It was this huge, gathering of women, and they would just, tell you everything like down to the dots. Like they would never assume that you know anything. They would start from the scratch, and they would go like, okay, so first you need to start small. There's all these small companies around that are affiliated with the university. You can try there. You need these skills. You need to learn these languages. You need X amount of projects on your GitHub. You need to practice on code. Do all of these steps. So I would do all of that and then try applying to smaller companies and then switch to the medium ones and then the big tech. And while I was at those companies, I would always have like some sort of female mentor that I would look up to. Like, for example, in my team right now, there's this woman, her name is Sadrata, and she's so good at her work. I'm looking at her codes, I'm looking at her work. She's so good, like she's so inspiring, and I look up to her. I want to be like her. So there's always some woman in any position that I worked at who's either at my level or above me, and they're just so inspiring to me. And it's always the women that hit a chord because I feel like they're much more like they're like motherly figures. They really care about you and they understand what you're going through. So I've always had these mentors that I've been fortunate to have them, and because of that, they have inspired me to start mentoring and coaching students, just in order to give back to my juniors in case they need someone. And I do that online because while I was fortunate to be in a university where there was this huge group of women, not everyone has that privilege, especially with COVID. Everything's remote. It's human connection is much rare. So I try to do my part in giving back, like having open discussions either like on LinkedIn or Instagram and having frequent Q&As. So I think that has been my experience. It's just women lifting women, and I'm just so happy to see it. And I hope this helps us bridge the gap soon.
That's amazing to hear.
Thank you, ma'am. So moving on to our next question, which is directed to all of you. Do you feel you have had to work harder than your male colleagues to advance in your career? Deepa, ma'am, answer. You have to answer first.
Sure, I think I feel that I love to work. So you can call me a workaholic. So I never felt that way. In fact, it's the ulta. Like my team thinks ki kab ghar jayegi. When will she go so that hame thoda aaram mile? So man saying that, I do not agree with this statement. It's my work. I love it. I love it to the core. And I think women are more tactful. They can always smile and get their work done. Now that's that's a little cheeky, but I think women can really get their work done. They're more pleasant disposition and they're more cordial and humble, and I don't think so. And if you're depending on the society for validation, I know most of us, we've been brought up like that we are validating ourselves. Ki wo kya soch raha hai, this is what they feel about me, or they make me treat. I think it should be so powerful. It's very important that validation thing, like I said, कि किसी की जरूरत नहीं है ये जानने में कि you are best, and nobody can deviate. Sometimes there are children, and there are people listening, and maybe they listen as a recorded version, but children look for validation. कभी कभी मम्मी पापा ही बोल देते हैं that you have to do better, ये चीज़ नहीं है, वो चीज़ नहीं है. You have to keep intact. That spine has to be intact, and then it all boils down to your self validation. Do not look at others. So I'll come back to the question. नहीं, मुझे ऐसा कभी नहीं लगा. मुझे लगता है कि वैसा वर्ष है. This is the result.
Thank you, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am, what about you?
Yeah, no, I never felt like I had to work harder than my male colleagues. But yeah, I mean, it's more difficult for people to like understand that, okay, this person could be really good at what she does. So that takes time. But then again, as Deepa ma'am said, that you should not care. So thank you so much. Like, I'll keep that in mind now.
Suvita, ma'am?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like people to notice that, okay, you are good at work. I think it takes a bit of more time for people around you to realize, and it was a very nice thought from Deepa, that yeah, probably it doesn't matter, but I think especially today's times, people are really competing. Not always bad, it's also healthy competition, and I have only seen people who are actually working hard progress. So I don't think it is anything to do with the gender. It is everybody who is working hard. Everybody is actually around you will be working hard. I mean, I haven't come across too many people who do not work hard. Everybody is working towards some goal in their lives, probably a promotion, or somebody is working towards something else. Everybody is working hard towards something else, and I don't think at today's time it's even possible to get like unfair advantage.
Thank you, ma'am. Anjali, ma'am, what do you want to say?
Yeah, same as all the other panelists. I've never really felt that, okay, I need to work harder than the males in my team or male students to, be better or do better. But it's always about validation, like, oh, like, I need, like, why can't you see what I've done, right? It takes time. But I guess I shouldn't care, and I will not. So thank you for that, Deepa ma'am. Definitely will keep
Always
that in
welcome.
mind.
You're always welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
That was really good to hear that we don't have to work harder in. Sanya, over to you.
Yeah, so my next question is that do you guys think it's like companies should have like a specific quota for women to join the tech industry or something like that? Do you feel it's necessary considering the ratio we have at present of women in tech?
I can go first on this. I think the final representation that we see, that's a symptom, and what the root cause is, uh, like even in the primary education or say secondary education, there itself the women representation is lesser. So if we improve those, the final figure will automatically get corrected. I do not think there should be any special reservation for women, because women are equal. We are fighting everything to say that, prove that women are equal. If we give them a special status, that just goes against that notion. It feels like, okay, women need extra privilege or something. So I think it's more to work at the root, not at the symptom level.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I 100% agree with that. And when I voice this opinion, oftentimes you know, uh, I have like people who look at me and say, wait, so you say you're a feminist and you say you want women in tech, and then you're also saying that we shouldn't have reservation. But of course we shouldn't have reservation. It kind of, it kind of breaks the point. Like if we do have reservation, then, and if we need those special privileges, then we're not really equals, right? So for me, it's about equality. It's about having women in tech and having those women in by themselves, by the work they do, and recognizing them for their efforts. So it all boils down to, primary education, secondary education, ensuring more women, opt the women who want to opt for tech, they get to do it. And I could be a personal example, because back when I was in 10th grade and I opted for math instead of biology, my parents were fully supportive, but a lot of like neighborhood uncles, they were, almost, like scolding me. They're like, are you serious right now? You're smart, you're a woman, you should be in bio. You have to be a doctor. And I was like, I want to be an engineer. And they're like, no, you're wasting your potential. And I faced a lot of criticism. I remember crying for it, but my dad is an engineer, and he was like, "Don't worry about it. You do what you want to be doing." So I think it all boils down to encouraging young girls to get into tech, and then all the problems will be solved on the upper levels.
That's amazing to hear. Priyanka, ma'am?
Yeah, so Sanya, I mean, we all have been actually we've all had a very privileged upbringing, and we've all grown up like among some really good role models in terms of mothers and female teachers out there. But if we have faced this amount of resistance, one can like only imagine the kind of struggle that the young girls out there in villages face, who are kind of raised with constant discouragement that okay, this is what you should not go for. So I believe the work should be done where it needs to be done. That is getting more women into STEM in general, and not just like creating reservation quota, etc. I think if we can get more women in science, technology, mathematics, engineering, they'll figure out the rest. That's my point.
Awesome. Deepa, ma'am?
Yeah, I also think that this is more about diversity and inclusion. So when I say we need to create a mind share, I think amongst the parents or people who are enabling that children, women especially, need to get more skilled, and they need to get into the workforce, and that is where the change will come. So grassroots change needs to come for this. I think the word quota is a different version, but I'd say yes, because we cannot deny that there are only 8% women in the leadership positions. So whilst I've been an entrepreneur, I also feel that in multinational and other places, there's still a lot of mindset issue that needs to change for women to come in the top leadership positions. That's one. And like I said, like Priyanka said, that at the grassroots in villages, parents still think that the girls' education has to be stressed. STEM can be adopted. So I think that thing has to be done. And I'm very proud to tell you that with Tech Supergirl, we're wanting to do this. We want to go to the last mile in India, and you want to get more and more women digitally ready to create a role, a pivotal role in this. Just to shape up India as a digitally ready, women ready country, digitally enabled country. That is my point.
Thank you so much. I hope, like, by the time at least we graduate, or like say even 10 years down the lane, they're more, it's almost like 50-50 gender ratio, and we don't have to really address this issue anymore. Yeah. So Shreya, over to you.
Yes, there is one thing we both are really like, we want to know about it, like really it matters a lot. Like, what is the biggest challenge for the next generation woman according to you? And how can we be a really strong model for them? Deepa ma'am, would you like to go first?
Shreya, I would say, and Sanya both, I'd say, in my perception, for whatever I picked up in the last 20 years, I don't know about women, facing a challenge in terms of, you're talking about the professional skill set. I'll say skill set is the core to focus. Like, we are seeing a major change in the next 10 years. So imagine that you pick up a job today, after 10 years, that technology is going to be, obsolete. So what I'm saying is that skilling up and going for something specific, because the world is going to change every 10 years. So that is one challenge that I foresee for all the women who are listening to me, is shaping up your capacity, capability, vocational skills, a major game changer. That we see. Good part, I'll end it up like this. The education become very economical, affordable, like Udemy and so many things, like open source Priyanka's talked about. There have been so many platforms now come up, and you just have to open your PC and you can get started. It's become so affordable. So that is how the world's going to change. And this challenge, if you don't skill yourselves, you'll be out because somebody else will pick up your seat. While I say this, that if you're large, they will give seat to other women, I'd also say that women need to be prepared to adopt and adapt to this revolution in technology.
Sunita ma'am, what would you suggest us?
Yeah, of course, like technology is like an ever-changing world. Every day, like every 6 months, a new version comes up. You need to get yourself updated to what is there in the new version. Other than that, I just think that so in previous generations, the notion was the women who work are very careerist. They cannot have a normal life or balanced life. I think that is something our generations can set things right, showing that yeah, a woman can have a successful career as well as have a balanced personal life. I think that's something which will change a lot of yeah, newer upcoming generations in the future, because yeah, people will not feel that, oh, if I choose technology or any career, if I become a careerist, I have to give up on this. Like, no, you don't have to. You can have a balanced life. You can have a good career as well as a balanced personal life. I think that's something we all should strive to work for. That would be a good example for future generations.
Thank you, ma'am. Anjali, ma'am, what would you like to say?
I just think it's getting easier and easier for women to be in tech. I think if we talk about Deepa ma'am or even Suhita ma'am, who have been in tech for so long, I'm pretty sure they had a harder time as women in tech than me, because they set the stage for us. They were there, like we could, like for me and my generation, we had several women we could look up to, women CEOs and other women in tech that we could look up to as role models. So I'm pretty sure the next generation will have an even easier time if we continue, our efforts into ensuring there's equality and ensuring there's more and more role models. So I'm hoping that the next generation of women, they have a much easier time, and that tech is a very welcome space for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am?
I agree with Anjali's point. Like, women leaders out there, they've set a stage for us. And now it's up to us to give back to our juniors. I would believe that, we're not going to face the restrictions and the hesitance that, women faced 10 years back, that we're going to still face it. The only thing is that, of course, you've got to build a competency, you've got to work on skills. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope we'll be able to follow that. Sanya?
Yeah, thank you. What advice would you all give to women, the young women just entering the workforce today? Deepa, ma'am, would you like to go first?
And I would like to tell them, whatever you do it with conviction, grit, determination. Don't do it half-heartedly. Be diligent in discipline. जो भी करो शिद्दत से, दिल से. And if it grows on you, so I tell you very quickly, my daughter, I wanted her to pursue IIT, to be very honest with you. But she said no. I didn't want to do it, so she went to San Diego. She's pursuing business economics. And she told me one thing, Mom, I think I'm going to regrow in this because I love it. I'm very proud of the fact that she chose something that so well on you. Think through your own mind and eyes and thoughts and remove your blinders. Don't listen to everyone, but do what you want to do. And that will take you a long way. And if what you love gets to be your career, that's voila. So love what you do and do what you love.
Thank you so much,
That's it.
Deepa, ma'am. Suhita, ma'am, what are your thoughts?
I think it's very important to be confident and yeah, voice your opinions and your thoughts, share it with people around you, and also just yeah, if you're doing something, do it with 100%. When you feel about it, you want to do it, you do it. Like I myself, I changed from my software development career into data analytics after 5 years into the career, and I switched because I like it. I really love what I do, and I think that has helped me with everything, even building Vice Fellow. I can think more objectively what we want to achieve at the end of the day. um, so yeah, I try to do everything what I do like with 100%. So I think that's the advice I would give. Like, just be confident, do what you want to do. Actually, don't just do what just you have to do. Don't do that. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. Anjali, ma'am?
I think some great points have been presented, like do what you love, make sure you're genuinely passionate about everything you're doing, and also not really care about people who doubt you. I guess the only pointer I can add here is networking, because it has helped me a lot. Make sure you meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, especially those in your niche. And it's not about sending 100 LinkedIn connection requests, like Sita ma'am says. I'm pretty sure her platform would be an amazing place to do that. But really meet people, try to help others without expecting anything back. And there will be a time when you will need help and they will be there for you as solid pillars. So I guess having a really good network can really help you. It's just people lifting people, and that would be my advice to everyone.
Thank you so much. Anjali ma'am, what's your take on that?
Okay, yeah, I think you made me. So, in addition to all the points, I would just tell them that go ahead, participate more, collaborate more, put yourself out there, and be okay with failing. That's how you're going to grow. So, just fail a lot, explore a lot, experiment a lot, and as Anjali just said, right, that try to build your network, try to talk to people around you in conferences, in meetups, just like we did right here. It was like a mini mentorship session for me there from Deepa and Sweta ma'am. So I would say just, yeah, put yourself out there, collaborate more with people, learn more from people. Oh, ma'am,
Priyanka,
you're
please
good.
remove the word ma'am. Please call me Deepa. I mean, Deepa. Short and sweet. No ma'am. Yeah. No, ma'am culture's out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sugita and Deepa, for all your valuable points. It was really great listening to both of you, and even Anjali. It's been nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So, moving forward, what we want to know is what first sparked your interest in working in the tech industry? Deepa, ma'am, let's start with you.
Shreya, I couldn't hear your question clearly. What sparked my interest in the tech industry? Got it.
What first sparked your interest in working in the tech industry?
One line answer. I'm very, very passionate about tech. I'm very curious. I love to read. I love to know what other companies are doing. I'm not a coder, but I can still answer questions if I need tech enthusiast. So only the passion takes you places, and that's what. And I thought I could really excel in this direction. And I think that kept me going. So was it short and sweet? Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Suvita, ma'am, what about you?
Yeah, I think I started enjoying technology in true sense when I started working, because at the end of the day, writing code is thinking logically. You just write your logic on the paper or thing. And I have always liked solving puzzles and things like that. So I really started enjoying when I started working, and there's no looking back. I think it has been like a great value add to my skill list. Wherever I go, I think it has made me more logical, and yeah, I can like give better recommendations and everything, more logical sound recommendations, because I have that developed that logical thinking. Yeah, it's just that like I just started enjoying when I started working on this.
Anjali, ma'am.
I think for me, it was my dad. He's an engineer. He's not in tech, he's in instrumentation, but I always wanted to be an engineer because of him. And I absolutely loved math. And then in engineering, when I first learned how to code, it was like it's the closest thing there is to magic. Like coding really is the closest thing to magic. Like you can create something from absolutely nothing, and there's that thing that you gave it life and it's doing work for you, it's automating things for you, and it's so amazing. And like ever since I found out that I could automate all these little things in my life, I was lazy enough to want to do that, even though it took me a longer time to write the actual script than do the task. So I think that really got me into coding and hence into tech.
Thank you, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am, what about you?
Yeah, so I think for me, I kind of knew that this is something that I wanted to do in class 10th when I first understood how a for loop works. And I was like, okay, this is so fun and this is so easy compared to all the other subjects. I don't need to memorize anything. I don't need to, like road learn a lot of stuff, and I can just, make up like my own source code and everything. I was exposed to different technologies in college, but I loved coding from class 10th itself. I was like, this is the easiest, this is the most fun. I don't need to remember a lot of stuff. And yeah, this is now what I want to do. And my grandfather used to say that an engineer can do anything in their life. So this is something that was really intriguing for me. I was like, okay, this is up to yahi karna hai.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was really fun to hear. Sane, over to you.
Yeah, so we wanted to know what role do you think that male peers can, do to like best support the female peers in the business and the tech world? What do you all think? We can have Savita ma'am go first.
I think it's just the culture of inclusiveness. Just be inclusive. That will solve, like, I think 99% of all the problems that you find. Just be inclusive. Don't we tend to differentiate, like put people and everything into buckets, like, oh, I am different from this person with this thing because of this thing and that thing, and we try to not be inclusive. I think, yeah, if it just everybody just try to be inclusive, I think that's the most important thing. And yeah, just open communication.
Thank you, ma'am. Anjali ma'am, what are your thoughts?
I just think treat us as equals, and that's all we'll need. Stop underestimating us. I mean, that's all really that we need. We are good enough to do it on our own. It would just be nice to have that extra support. It would be nice if someone didn't look at you and immediately underestimated you simply because you're a girl. So I think that's all we need.
Absolutely agree with you. Thank you so much. Priyanka ma'am?
Yeah, I think they're doing good job already. Okay, so in addition to that, I would say just don't hesitate while talking to juniors out there. Just like you won't hesitate with juniors and giving them advices and mentorship. So yeah, but like I'm already seeing the change in my company and in previous companies that I've done that. So they're doing a good job.
Glad to hear. Deepa, what are your thoughts on that?
I just think, Sandhya, I don't know, there's like respect and recognition, as Joyce point where everybody was talking, inclusivity, equal opportunity. And most of all, looking beyond the horizon, it means that breaking stereotype and removing the blinders. So women are really comfortable. All need is validation and respect. They don't need validation and contradict masses. Believe that they are equals. That is what it is needed.
Right. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, ma'am, it's it's time for us to wrap up the session. But before that, if there is one thing you would like this audience to take away from this session, what would it be? Deepa, ma'am, let's go with you first.
Stick to your conviction, follow your heart, no matter what. Let the world say anything they want to, but just stick to your conviction, follow your gut, and you are the girl. You are the person of your choice.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Suhita, ma'am.
I would just say be confident at whatever you do and just talk to people around you. Like, just be in touch with everything around you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anjali, ma'am.
I would just say networking is everything. Have a lot of people in your squad, cheer people on, and you're going to be fine.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am.
I would just say that be the person who you kind of wanted as a child, right? You wanted someone to mentor you, help you, guide you. Be that for someone, and just network a lot, talk to people a lot, build your skills, work on your competencies, and the success and everything will follow. I hope it follows for me too.
It will. It will.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This was a really inspiring session for both of us, and I hope also for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you so much. This has been a confounding discussion. And of course, like a big thank you to everyone who is here with us virtually, the audiences. Thank you for actively participating. We've been looking at the chats as well. So you've been really active participating during the entire discussion. So thank you for that. And of course, like a big, big, big thank you to all the speakers, Priyanka ma'am, Deepa ma'am, Suhita ma'am, and Anjali ma'am, for taking out the time out from your busy schedules. Looking forward to more such inspiring discussions with you all in the near future. So thank you for joining us. And to the audience, for more such intriguing and informative events, don't forget to follow us on our various social media handles at @CodeChef-VIT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandhya and Shreya. Lovely. You really coordinated and managed the questions so well.